Hey, gun people! Well, shit. Sometimes in critical, rapidly evolving situations, you make decisions that you later regret.
Put on the brakes! Stop the fucking car! Stop the fucking car, man!
Yeah. Who thinks this is going to turn out good? Yeah, you'd probably be right. Let's look at this from the beginning here. Okay, so I'm guessing this guy is working some sort of task force undercover. This car is an undercover car, but it's just amazing to me. Look at all the shit in this guy's field of vision. And yet if you have a freaking feather hanging from your mirror, you get fined, taxed, have a court date, have to fight in court, get stopped, possibly searched, have to ID, could get arrested and given a ticket. And yet government runs around like this. But you got idiots out there defending cops writing these tickets saying, oh no, they're keeping you safe. I never once received any training on how to be a better driver with my view obstructed. I mean, there's just shit everywhere. But more government bullshit. Here we go. This guy's making a traffic stop.
Traffic with that. King Henry Frank 765, Burgess and Leclerc. Burgess and Leclerc, King Henry Frank 765.
So he calls in his traffic stop. Look, I've made 1,000 traffic stops, and I probably called in less than 75% of them, if not 80 or 90%. I mean, I know a lot of cops will be like, man, that's crazy, you should never stop. When you're making a lot of traffic stops in a bad area and you're, you know, every other person has a warrant and you got to decide on whether you're going to arrest them or let them go because there's bigger fish to fry, you know, 80, 50, 60, I don't know, a huge percentage of my people I stopped didn't have a license, had suspended license, you know, unless it was a hard felony, I would just move on. So you don't want to call in every stop all the time when you're working that way. If you're in a marked unit, I mean, look, they usually call them in. This guy's in an unmarked car and he's calling it in. Okay, so he's doing a passenger side approach. I usually approach on this side. Again, I didn't have to run into traffic. I didn't have to worry about traffic going by. Most people plan on you to approach this way, so when you approach this way, it kind of throws them off a little bit. Also gives me a chance to kind of check the car out as I'm walking around it.
How's it going, guys? Hey, Dennis. Hey, hate to be the one to tell you this, but it sounds like you got a warrant out of Illinois.
Okay, so how did he know Dennis? How did he know his name? And how did he know he have a warrant? When you're dealing with career criminals and in certain neighborhoods, you're dealing with the same people all the time. They get out of prison, they get out of parole, they get in parole, they post bond. I mean, it's the same guys doing the same crime. And you know what? Crime is good for government. Government likes a lot of crime. So the incentive to stop crime is not really there. So he knows the guy's name and he says, you got a warrant. Did he say what the warrant was for?
Hate to be the one to tell you this, but it sounds like you got a warrant out of Illinois. Okay, you got your ID on you?
So the warrant is for forgery. When I hear forgery warrant, the guy wrote a hot check. He bounced a check. To me, a forgery warrant is kind of poo-buck arrest. It's a financial crime. Unless it's in the millions or this guy's like on the top most wanted, I'm probably not going to arrest the guy. I'm going to be like, if you don't have a gun on you, if you don't have anything other serious going on, go take care of your warrant, dude. The next cop's probably going to book you. That's probably how I would have handled this, but whatever. I'm not saying the cops are wrong.
Sorry? Okay. Do you have anything on you? Okay. Why don't you step out of the car until we can identify you?
Okay, that's when I ask somebody to step out of the car and they're not like reaching for the door handle, I know somebody's going to call me a tyrant. I'm just telling you, I evaluate people's body positions, body behavior, and you learn that. It's called street savvy, whatever you want to call it, different name. tactical awareness, whatever. You learn to read people. This guy is a no person, and he is planning something no good from the jump street. This initial pause right here is like, this guy's up to no good. He's not going to get out of the car. He's going to fight. He's going to reach for a gun. Something's going to go on, but this guy ain't getting out of the car. Rick, you don't know that? I knew that the second I watched this.
You got anything on your person, man?
That's twice you've asked him. Guy's ignoring him. He ain't reaching for the door.
You got anything on you? Any weapons or
That's the third time.
anything like that? What's up? Awesome. Okay, go ahead and step out.
When you tell a guy he's got a warrant and you tell him to step out, he knows he's going to jail. Said it 1,000 times. This is taught in the academy. The most dangerous time when dealing with people is when they know they're going into custody. Either when you go hands-on, when you're handcuffing, or they know, hey, this guy knows, if I get out of this car, I got to fight, run, or I'm going to jail.
Hello? Go step out, man.
Step out, I don't know how many times.
Yeah, reach. Unbuckle your seatbelt and step out of the vehicle.
When a guy puts his hands up and he doesn't comply, we call that a clue. He's planning. He's observing. He's weighing his options.
Yeah, what's up?
So this feigning, I'm a good guy, I don't want any problem, hands up, don't shoot, I can't breathe, mama, all this bullshit. This is all stalling, looks good. This guy is not getting out of this car and saying, okay, officer, you caught me, I'm going to jail. It just ain't happening. He's ignoring you and he's talking to her. So the guy's by himself. He's getting a guy out with a warrant, trying to arrest him. Would it have been smarter to wait? I mean, another unit gets there in a minute. Why not just tell this guy, hey, man, need to see your ID, your passenger. Ma'am, do you have driver's license, insurance? I stopped you for whatever. Why not just stall until you get a second unit? Is that the second unit? I'm not sure.
Stop the car, man!
Okay, so we escalate to stop the car, and I think this is the driver. I think he pushes the driver out or tells her to get out, because he's probably telling her drive off, and she's like, "No, man, I don't want to go to jail." And he's like, "Drive off." No, then he says, "Get the fuck out of the car." So the video kind of jumps here, and I'm trying to see where she gets out. There he goes. That's the door opening. Okay, I missed that. I couldn't pick that up before. So as soon as that door opening, you know shit's going down. But this cop should have known when they were talking and communicating and planning and conspiracy to do this. So here he's pushing her out, trying to force her out.
Stop the car, man! Stop the...
And he jumps behind the car. Okay, so let's do a pop quiz here on how smart you guys are. Raise your hand if you think this guy pushed her out because he loved her and he didn't want to cause her problems, and then he's going to give up. Raise your hand. Of course not. This is going bad quick. And what does the cop do? He jumps in front of the car, creates the emergency to justify deadly force. He doesn't shoot him, but he's still got that Superman syndrome. I'm super cop. You can't run over me. If you don't comply with me, I can do whatever to stop. It's just, this is just a dumb, this is a classical CHP, the dumbest law enforcement agency in the land, California Highway Patrol. They do this shit all the time. This hero, I'm going to jump in front of the car, and if you move, I'll shoot you, and it'll be deadly force because I was in fear of my life. You were going to run me over. It's like jumping out in front of a busy highway, and a cop just starts shooting everybody and saying, hey, all the cars were driving at me. I was in fear of my life, so I started shooting them all. But you jumped in the middle of the highway. Well, that's all right, officer. This is exactly what this is. And we allow this. Our legislators allow it. Our cops, our law enforcement. Nobody says the next cop that jumps in front of a car, you're liable for everything that happened. If somebody dies, it's your fault. This shit would stop tomorrow. But it doesn't. We just keep saying back the blue. They're all perfect. They're all wonderful. We have to love them.
The car! Stop the car! Stop the fucking car! Stop the fucking car!
So the second unit showed up here, like I said, pretty quick. He could have waited.
Stop the fucking car!
So climbing on the hood. We think this is a good tactic. I've climbed on a hood once when a guy was coming out with a knife and I had a cop on both sides of me freaking... Well, actually, I climbed on twice because there was a guy on the roof and I couldn't see him, so I stood on the hood. And then I climbed on my roof so I could get a better look at him. But you just don't climb on a hood of moving cars when somebody's driving it. That's not a good move. I wouldn't even climb on a hood of a car if a cop was in the car.
Stop it! Stop the car!
So this guy looks like he might be in a marked unit. I'm not sure. It could be another undercover because he's not in uniform. So my guess, like I said, these guys are working some sort of task force.
Stop the car! Get off the...
So this guy kind of abandons, go, look, I'm doing no good. At least I can follow him. This guy knows he's going to drive off. This guy is so locked on with his blue line bracelet. Oh, Rick, we need to back the blue. It's us against them. Their lives only matter, not pesky You know what? This cop's going to pay for this dumb decision.
The fuck? Put on the goddamn brakes! Put on the fucking brakes! Put on the brakes!
So this must be another cop responding. I don't think it's the same one that got behind him and then cut him off. This is probably another cop responding.
Stop the fucking car!
So this guy's defense is going to be, look, I was driving slow. I didn't want to hurt the officer. He wouldn't get off. He could have jumped off. He could have got off when I was going slow, and he didn't. That's going to be his defense. I mean, I think the guy only gets 5 years for this, and it's probably going to be suspended, and he's probably only going to do a year, and he probably did a whole bunch of other crimes, so big freaking deal. He probably ditched a gun or some dope in a way, which could have got him more years, so he lost years by driving off with a cop on your car and then wrecking and throwing a cop.
The fucking car! Stop the fucking car, man!
Maybe you should yell it like 10 more times, and then he'll stop.
Jesus. Stop the car, man!
So this cop here is in a pickle. So he's like, look, do I run this guy? Because he's trying to block the road to slow him down. But this car went on the curb. He's driving on the road. So he really can't ram him. He can't pit him. He can't even really shoot at him without shooting his partner. So this cop has set up everybody to where we can't even help your dumb ass on the car. But Rick, he got a broken vertebrae and he was out there trying to protect and save. Yeah, okay, well, you're an idiot. Whatever. This guy's hauling ass. Now, this cop, I'm thinking right about, let's see. Here, he's thinking, man, this was a bad idea. I really shouldn't have done that. I should have really rethought this. Damn, I've always seen CHP and all the other cops get in front of cars and the guy stops. That shit didn't work out. This is all going through this cop's mind right now. Too bad. So sad. So, train track here. Luckily, he didn't try to run right in a train and commit suicide. But he's still taking some pretty hard turns. He's going pretty quick. So, I mean, the fact the guy hasn't fallen off yet is, to me, pretty amazing. At this point, just in case one of you idiots ever get in this situation, because if you get in this situation, you gotta be an idiot. Just in case, you need to be picking the best spot to bail. And the slowest time this car is going to be going is probably on a turn or when it's slowing down to make a turn. And you need to just take your licks and bail at the slowest point. Because this ain't going to end good if you don't. And this guy he got tunnel vision. He locked onto the threat, clamped on, and was going to hang on until they crashed. Which is what happened, I think. right about here, he goes airborne because this guy hits a ditch that he didn't see. And he slams pretty hard on the ground. His head's up. I think he's got a broken vertebrae. I can't believe this guy went through this ditch and kept going. Cop got stuck. I mean, this is a pretty big ditch to be hitting at that speed. And that car hit that shit, and that cop went bam. And this cop, I mean, this is a pretty good ditch. So let's see what this forgery for a guy that wrote a bad check, how much taxpayer money it costs. Probably totaled the car, bent the frame. Guy's got a broken vertebrae, all the medical bills, probably medically retired pension for the rest of his life. Guy gets away. He goes and steals another car, and then they arrest him. Let's see, what was all his other crimes?
Carroll 91, he is going north past the county shed to Highway 30. I have 1050 in a ditch. I need medics to my location. I have Officer McCarty down.
1050, I'm assuming, is an accident, or maybe disabled vehicle. So let's see what the let me give you guys a little pro tip here.
Stop the car! Stop the fuck! Stop it! Stop the car! Stop the car! Get off the fuck! Put on the goddamn brakes! Put on the fucking brakes!
Okay, pro tip for all you boys in blue.
Put on the brakes!
I know this is cool, and all of you want to be GTA, and you all think that you're freaking internet Navy SEALs because you have a uniform and a gun. This is not smart, and it's not a good position, and you don't want to be here. But, you know, there'll be some cops saying, well, if he'd have shot him, he would have stopped. All right, whatever. Let's read what the hell this guy had here going on here. Police Officer Patrick McCarty. Ooh. 29-year-old, Dennis, Jr., passenger. Let's see. Stopped the vehicle. Indicated guider was facing arrest for a forgery case. Ooh, forgery. He wrote a bad check. We're going to get this guy. Asked him to step out. A minute later, opened the door of the car, pushed the woman out who had been driving, refused to cooperate officer's command, and attempted to flee. Has he fled? I love this. The officer magically ended up on the hood of the car. How did that happen? Well, we don't know. The officer was on the stop, and next thing we know, he's on top of the car. We don't know how that happened. The dumbass officer got in front, trying to escalate a deadly force. He moved in front of a moving vehicle, put his life in danger, put other people in danger, and then he jumped on the hood of the car with his gun pointed at the suspect. Okay, let's say what it was. Speeds up to 60 miles an hour with motor force striking a culvert, throwing the officer from the vehicle, resulting in serious but not life-threatening. Suffered a broken vertebrae in his back. Oh, not a broken back, just a broken vertebrae. The officer was treated and released that day. Wasn't that bad. The suspect was later located in Chicago Heights, Illinois, after ditching the original vehicle, stealing another vehicle from the garage with the keys left in it. District judge sentenced Guider to 5 years in prison to be served separately from his Illinois incorporation. Guider was wanted in Illinois for violating his parole, for burglary, and fraud. And he had been sentenced to up to 6 years and was paroled and let out of jail. Aww. You know what? I'm so freaking tired of this reparation bullshit. How about some reparations for all the white crime? If we want to give people reparations just because they're color and they're victims, how about all the white victims of black crime? How about all the money spent on black crime? Why don't we get reparations for that from all the black people who are working hard, who didn't do anything, who are out there just doing a job and making a living? Why don't we make them pay for all the other people that there's color? I mean, this reparation shit in the news every day is driving me nuts, but whatever. We'll end that there. Y'all have a good one.